Okay, we are live, and my name is Federico Ree, and this is InspireTalk Radio. And today we're still covering the Aussie Disruptors series, and I'm speaking with Diana Bordean, who's my next guest, and we're covering the subject of health and well-being. How are you, Diana? Nice to have you involved in the show.
Good, thank you. I'm very good, thanks, Federico. How are you? How about yourself?
I'm not too bad in Melbourne. It's quite warm over here, and I'm guessing in Adelaide it's always warmer. So.
Yeah, it is very warm here. Yeah.
Well, look, thanks for joining us and thanks for your time. Look, I'm really keen to pick your brain today and really get to the bottom of why you started your business. And I guess being an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, as well as being a disruptor, I really want to dig deep into your mindset and really understand what you do and pretty much what your long-term goal is, and also the challenges that you faced along the way, and pretty much how you see yourself disrupting your industry sector of health and well-being. So I guess for the viewers who will be listening in at some point, I'd like them to know formally who you are, and I'm just going to read out a brief profile of that yourself. And this is how you present yourself online. So you're the founder of Unique Health and Wellbeing in South Australia, and your vision is to help others be the best they can be, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You're passionate about supporting people on a journey to holistic health and live a purpose-filled life of complete health and well-being, hinging on your own philosophy that no two people are the same. So having said that, Diana, I guess my first question is, what inspired you to operate within the health and wellbeing sector?
Yeah, so health and wellbeing has been my passion for a long time now. And I think it's when I connected with my inner self, my true self, when I discovered what my passion was, that is helping people and bringing healing to people. It just brings me a lot of joy seeing the smile on people's faces, and once they have breakthroughs in their life and overcome barriers, whether that be physical, mental, or whatever area. And it just reinforces to me that I can be there of service. And I think that for me, it really heightened when I had a series of traumatic experiences in my teens before the age of 18, which actually forced me to go into a very dark time in my life, where I was able to then find the tools that I needed to come back out and resurface. So having been through those difficult experiences, I believe is what really drives me to help others who are undergoing the same sort of things. And then, be able to use the techniques and the tools that I learned myself in order to help them to overcome whatever they're going through.
Sure, I guess hardship and there's a bit of an echo here, so that hopefully will go away. So we all learn from hardship, we all learn from setbacks, and certainly as an entrepreneur myself, that it's sometimes during adversity that we learn to reflect and use hindsight to make ourselves better and perform better. So I guess those earlier experiences have encouraged you or led you into the direction of founding Unique. So tell us a little bit about what Unique does, when was it founded, and what is its mission and vision?
So Unique is really a holistic health and wellness community, and our aim is to help and empower thousands of people locally and worldwide to find, reach, and maintain their ideal holistic health and wellness. And really, it's to embody that holistic approach and journey with everybody on the health and wellness path, addressing all areas, whether it's mental, spiritual, emotional, and of course physical. So I established Unique officially in September 2016. And I think that having been a physio in private practice prior to that for a few years taught me a lot. And I was seeing a common trend in people. They're always coming to me for physio with different problems, aches, pain, and ailments. But the most common contributing factor that I see in all people is that of stress. And stress impacts us on a daily basis, and learning how to deal with stress and reducing it and managing it is something I became very passionate about. So
Yes.
that basically what I want to bring out to the Western society in particular, because there's a huge imbalance that I'm seeing at the moment in the population with that.
Sure. So you're operating online, so I'm assuming your services are available anywhere around the world. And who would be your ideal target market?
The ideal target market, look, ideally anyone who deals with stress, which is most of us, right? But I think there's two main groups of people that I like to work with. The first is those that are perhaps in the later stages of their life where they've undergone certain stresses and traumatic experiences in their life, even people going through a midlife crisis where they might have had even health issues that are preventing them from living the way they used to. And so they're turning to different stress reduction therapies and modalities in order to help them. So it's a path in order to give them that holistic lifestyle. In particular, people that have suffered from chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia, things like really that are related to stress.
Yes.
And then on the other side of the scale as well is the stress prevention. So a lot of people in their, say, mid-30s or 40s, they're starting to realize now that this is what it's all about, finding that balanced lifestyle. So it's preventing those chronic stress type diseases or illnesses in order for them not to get it down the track.
Sure. So it kind of sounds like you're reinventing or perhaps re-establishing the meaning of a work-life balance. And although that term's been around for a long time, there's so much more we can learn from that. And you're incorporating a whole range of different elements and components from your experience. That seems to be the working formula. So putting aside, I guess, what the company does, in terms of the startup phase, the challenges that you faced, I'd like to just briefly understand, as a young entrepreneur that you are, or as a business owner, using lame terms, what were the main challenges that you faced trying to get this niche product or service out in the marketplace?
Yeah, the major challenges were that I suppose for me, not knowing what to do or where to go to find it, because there is no how-to book on entrepreneurship or a textbook that tells you exactly the right steps and what to do next. And I think being an entrepreneur, starting a business from scratch, especially when it's not a traditional business system, means that you have to pave your own pathway sometimes. And the fact that we're offering services outside the clinical setting and establishing something very new that it hasn't really been done before is a little bit challenging, because there's no previous experience or a how-to book. And also the second challenge is that of time, which I think we all face, of
course,
never enough time to do everything we want to do. So I sort of only pick the essential things. Yeah.
Look, you touched upon pioneering, and I also use the word disruption. And whenever you innovate and you change things, there's always the risk that the skeptics out there will dispute what you're trying to do. And I guess it's somewhat easier just to stick to a mainstream service and do what others have done, but grossly it's limiting the potential. So I guess moving on to the next subject or question about disruption. It's a new age term. It's being used quite a lot these days in many areas, including tech and so forth. But within the health and wellbeing sector, I guess I'm really keen to understand your perspective on what disruption means to you and how you see yourself innovating that sector that perhaps has been stale for a long time.
Yeah, so definitely, to me, disruption means, in particularly in business, is to change or alter the structure that's existing, take something that's already existing and completely revolutionize it so that we can serve the wider community and a greater purpose. And I think we always need something new, because if we're not changing, we're not growing. And if we're not moving forwards, we're not really making a difference. So I think the way that what I see unique doing, impacting people's lives with that, is it all comes down to, in private practice when I was working, I was really seeing a gap. And people were coming to me for physio, but they were really needing that holistic approach. So, for example, if you take say customer or client Bob, and he's got a lot of neck pain, tension, and headaches. Now, it's not just the pain; it's other factors as well, and more than likely it'll be stress, emotional burdens, it'll be bad posture, diet, all those other factors. So we're really treating a whole person, not just the neck. So we need that sort of holistic approach, and often the client has to go see all these other specialists in order to get all these things met. They might have to go see the nutritionist, the dietitian, the exercise physiologist, and they spend a lot of time and money going to and fro between those, and they don't communicate with one another in the current business model and in the current medical model as well.
Sure.
So my the innovation disruption here is, what if they could get all those services in one single location, as access them as an online platform, but also get the support people need with others like them going on the same journey as a community. So doing it together, and where all the practitioners are communicating. So Unique is about bridging that gap and bringing all these services to the wider community, where people can get their health right from a holistic perspective. So it's really connecting health professionals in a platform from all different fields, where they come together to address these issues, from NLP practitioners to nutritionists and wellness coaches and more, and then creating this hub and making it easily accessible and affordable for people to actually get the help they need, and getting it into a holistic and a community, really. Yeah.
Look, I love what I'm hearing, and I guess we've seen a lot of that happening in other industries with flight bookings, accommodation, and so forth. But within your sector, I haven't necessarily seen much of that mainstream. So you've touched upon collaboration, or perhaps community as such, and also using technology like an online platform to be accessible anywhere around the world. So I guess those things are logical, but no one really has brought all that together the way you've described it. And I guess your formula to success is quite complex, but you're pretty much offering a one-stop shop, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much so, yeah.
So it's all about convenience, because like you've said, time is a big issue for a lot of us. So if it's as easy as clicking a few buttons and getting the ultimate solution, then that's the way to go. So already now I'm starting to see your innovative thought process, and hence your entrepreneurial instincts on where the opportunities are, seeing the gap in the marketplace. And again, they're key words that I often hear disruptors talk about, and for me, you're resonating on that level. I guess looking at your competitive edge, and as you speak, listeners out there are probably taking notes, saying, okay, I can do the same, I can do better, blah blah blah. And surely over time, as the market grows and gets more saturated, there will be others that will come into the industry. But I guess from your perspective, how do you compete? Like, how do you plan that you can compete? And I guess I will give you 3 suggestions, or perhaps 3 areas for you to say, look, this one for me would be the most important. So between strategic partnerships, having venture capital, like a lot of cash, or simply being a very good influential leader, of those 3, what would you say would be the most important for you long term to compete?
I think personally it'll be strategic partnerships. For myself, in particular, in the service-based industry and creating such a health and wellness community, it's very important, because there's nothing better than people skills. And I think you can agree that people will work with you if they can see a vision and a mission. And it's not about me as a person, it's about servicing the whole community. So we do that as a whole. And I think getting different people involved and their experiences, it will enrich and enhance that for sure, and it'll give longevity to the business as well.
Well, I tend to agree with you on that point. We all have our own experiences and perspectives. For me personally, being a leader is the key, because you can have lots of money, but if you can't communicate, then people won't necessarily believe in your big picture and your dream. So the ability to share that vision, like you've said, and to encourage others to join you on that long-term journey is the crux, and that's also what I've learned in my career. So that's great. So I guess, you know, personal skill set, which also does include talent, and the traits of an entrepreneur. Looking at talent per se, but also looking at education and connections. Of those three, talent, education, and connections, again, which of those three would you rate the highest and why?
I think again I'd have to go with the connections, again with the people, because I think business is all about people. And yes, I think there you do need a degree of definitely talent and education, but having the right connections, if you know, serving people and their core needs is what will form amazing partnerships. And if you can find someone what they really want or what their core point of pain is and figure out a solution that will benefit them and you, both parties, then you're onto a winner.
It's interesting you say that because I've interviewed a few other great guests in recent times, a lot of social entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs, and some of them have mentioned the word collaboration as being the new currency of the 21st century. So, you know, it's not necessarily all about venture capital. It is about having people coming together as individuals and pretty much working together as a collaboration, as a team to make it happen. So you've touched upon that point several times about connections, about partnerships. So I guess as you're growing your business, even in this early startup phase, you're gathering your flock, I guess, and looking at people who can support you along your journey. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see the type of partnerships you form as time goes on. So I guess moving forward into the next area of opportunity, you've seen the opportunity and that's why you do what you do. But if you had a crystal ball and you looked at sort of the market in the next 3 to 5 years' time within Australia, what opportunities would you envisage, generally speaking, with the health and wellbeing sector?
Look, I think at the moment, Federico, is the opportunity in health and wellness is like a tidal wave about to hit. And I think, especially in Australia, we're awakening to that holistic health thing, and where health and well-being is the in thing. So I think we're becoming more and more awakened to health and wellness, and the opportunity is huge for somebody who is into this area as well. You know, right now is the right time to get in before that wave kind of hits. So the people
Absolutely.
that establish themselves now will benefit down the track. Absolutely.
Look, I discovered that phenomenon happening probably 10 years ago with I guess, the business coaching arena. You know, 10 years ago, there weren't many business coaches. Now everyone seems to be a business coach. So I guess for me personally to say, well, here's an opportunity for you for the next few years, really make the most of it. But that means disrupting really the industry, pioneering, pushing yourself, stretching yourself, and really investing and taking those sort of risks. Do you agree largely, based on what I've said, that that's really what you've got to do to capitalize on that gap?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how you go on that bumpy ride, because as pioneers we do experience a lot of the highs and lows and setbacks and even failures, but it's those entrepreneurs like yourself that are truly spirited, who will simply tackle it on head on. So can't wait to see what's going on there with your industry and your business per se. In terms of a philanthropic perspective and looking at how we can make the world a better place, and this is a question I ask all my guests that are part of this series, to basically throw their 2 cents worth about what advice or thought do you have about making this world a better place, obviously bringing in your experience within the health and wellbeing sector.
I think personally, I would make it compulsory for everybody to take time out every single day for a minimum of half an hour a day. So you might think, why? Because we live in such a fast-paced world, and it's always go, 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 and we become slaves to it. And I find that, you know, we become a human doing rather than a human being. So we need to take that time out to rest and recharge, to do mindfulness and meditation, go for a walk, but really to be present in the here and now. And I think we would all benefit from that, because we would then function more out of a deep place of inner peace and gratitude, and that would make a world a completely different place.
It's interesting you say that, because if you look at some other cultures like the Spaniards, they have their siestas in the afternoon. We all know about that. We often laugh about it. I also know that the Japanese have environments within their office space to sort of lay down and have a quick 15-minute power nap. And to be honest with you, in Australia, that concept does not exist, or if it does exist, it's rare and it's perhaps a bit quirky. But like you've said, taking that break in between does recharge you. Whilst it's so logical, I'm wondering why it hasn't been implemented. So I guess with that philosophy or suggestion you have, I guess it'll be a challenge for you as much as it is for anyone else to make it happen in the workplace. I guess employers are always concerned about productivity, and unless you're working on your desk, for them that's not productivity. But I tend to disagree, like you're saying yourself.
Absolutely. I think we can actually impact productivity. We can drive it through the roof by applying the concept of less is more. Because if we actually give people a little break, they can recharge and work 10 times as hard, and they're happier. So a happier person makes a happier workplace, really.
It's as simple as that, and I totally agree with you. Sometimes simplicity is the answer to any form of disruption. My last question is about the long-term future. So looking 5, 10, 20 years ahead, what programs, initiatives do you envisage or would like to see happening, again, in your sector, that perhaps are really stretching the mindset and really thinking outside the box? Because, who's to say we can't do it?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I would really like to see the government and really and the education system taking on this whole concept of health and wellness and mindfulness in particular, and working with children's minds early on to develop it in the right areas and give them those tools. Because to be honest, there's way too many cases that we see now of mental health, anxiety and depression, that can be really easily prevented by the tools, which I teach as well, but teaching them early on in a child's developmental stage. So I think, for me personally, I'd love to see the government getting behind this in putting in programs in schools, but also in workplaces, in hospitals and public sectors, where people can get easy and quick access to health and wellness, mindfulness, meditation, and a whole range of services as well.
I love it. I'm sure the skeptics out there will be thinking that's really far-fetched, but as dreamers that we are, as visionaries, I think that's all very doable, and I guess it requires that collaborative mindset and partnerships for it to occur. So I'm backing up on that one.
Yeah, and also, just like jogging down the probably ages ago, in many years ago, it was considered to be, if you saw someone jogging down the street, you'd think they've lost their marbles. But now everybody's doing it. So I think, yeah, just like that, we can actually change. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, look, let's leave it at that. I guess the word change does resonate very well with this whole series of disruption. I'd like to thank you for your time, Diana. I know it's a busy time of the year for you. It's also very hot, and you've got many other things to do, like resting and having a bit of leisure at the beach. So all the best, and we'll finish up this session right now and just stay on the line. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.